Hi, welcome everybody. I'm glad to be here. My name is Amy Hinkle, and I work for the Oregon Department of Human Services in the Child Welfare Program out of Central Office. Today, I'm excited to be here. We've got a panel to talk about the Moan Award. This is an award that's been around for a number of years that's celebrating outstanding casework practice within child welfare. And so I want to take a moment and have our panelists, everyone here joining in the conversation, just give a short introduction and your name and your relationship to the award.
I'll go first. I'm Molly Taylor. I work in Washington County, District 16, and I was the 2017 Moan recipient.
Great, thanks, Molly.
I'll go next. My name is Lindsay Wynn, and I am in Deschutes County, District 10, and I was the 2020 Moan recipient.
My name's Mark Lowry. I'm the Director of Workforce Development for the Child Welfare Partnership at Portland State University School of Social Work. And I received the Moan Award in 2000 when I was a Child Protective Service worker and a member of the Child Abuse Response Team in Benton County.
Great. Thanks, Marty.
And I'm Rolf Moan. I'm an Assistant Attorney General for the Oregon Department of Justice. I'm also the son of Tom Moan, and I've been an active member of the Moan Award Committee since about 1993.
Great. Well, I'm so happy to have all of you here today to just talk a little bit about the award and kind of what it has meant to you over the years. So before we get into that though, Rolf, I'd like for you just to talk a little bit about the award and the history of that now, if you don't mind.
Sure, thank you. The award is named for Tom Moan. Tom Moan was a man who spent his entire professional career in the field of child welfare. He began as a caseworker for the Lane County Welfare Department in the mid-1960s. He then became the first branch manager for the branch of the Children's Services Division that was headquartered in Eugene and was created when the state of Oregon for the first time created a statewide agency for child welfare purposes. He served as the branch manager in Eugene for about 10 years. After that, he was named the Deputy Director of the Children's Services Division and served in that capacity. And he died in 1985 from cancer at the age of 45. And when he died, his colleagues and friends and relatives got together and formed the Moan Award, which is given every year to a DHS child welfare caseworker to help recognize and promote the values that Tom Moan's work was all about. And he spent a lot of time in his professional career trying to promote and create different connections within the community because he realized that child welfare was work that requires everyone's contribution. He spent a lot of time on various county and statewide boards. He served on the National Conference of Social Welfare for about 5 years. He taught as an adjunct professor at the University of Oregon and taught courses on child abuse and child neglect. And he was really devoted to the field of child welfare in general. And so when he died, the award was created and the award is funded with contributions from those who want to support it. And over the past several years, the award has been used so that the statewide award recipient is sent to a national conference on child welfare. I feel like I'm leaving something out, Amy. What do you think that might be?
I think, Rolf, that you did a great job. I think some of the values, and I don't have them all in front of me, but it's about engaging with families, engaging with the community, leadership, professional development are kind of the buckets or the topics that we look at when caseworkers are nominated for the award. So I'd like to ask everyone what it meant to you when you were nominated and what it felt like for you when you were chosen as the recipient of the award.
So for me specifically, there were so many feelings associated with it. I think that in this job, sometimes it can be so defeating because we feel like we're doing such a great job and we're trying so hard and we're not really being recognized for that work. And at some point you sort of feel like just defeated a little bit. And so when I was nominated for the award, it was just so uplifting. And I was like, oh my gosh, people are noticing that I'm trying so hard and all the work that I'm doing, and not only in child welfare, but also community partners. And so that was just an amazing feeling to be able to hear a lot of those words that people were saying about me that I just didn't know, because we don't hear a lot of those positive things very often. And so it was just amazing being nominated. And then the moment that I actually won the award, it like took me to a whole nother level. I was like ecstatic. I was so excited. I mean, Amy, you were there, and Rolf, I was ugly crying. And people were taking screenshots of me ugly crying because I was just so, it was just such a blessing to win the award. And when that email went out from the director's office that I had won the award, I had people reaching out to me that I went to high school with that work for the state, that I graduated college with that work for the state. I even had I was an intern for child welfare in Lane County, and my supervisor that used to supervise me when I was an intern even reached out to me. And so it was just really such an amazing feeling. And now my plaque is actually up on my wall in my home office next to my vision board, so I can just see it every single day, because it's such an awesome opportunity for me. So that was sort of my experience.
And
that was really exciting to watch you.
I'll kind of piggyback off of what Lindsay said. I think getting the award for me, this job can be exhausting and at times pretty thankless. And so the award just really recharged me. And I would say just the nomination alone made me kind of be seen and valued. And sometimes this can be a pretty thankless job. And so it really was uplifting and kind of gave me a new pep in my step.
Great. I remember your event too, Molly. That was awesome to have all your family and everybody there to celebrate you. It was really fun. Yeah.
I got my award. So it's so cool to hear your guys' experiences. I got my award 20 years ago, and I can still remember how moved I was that my internal and external colleagues thought enough about my work that they took their time and their energy to write letters to nominate me for this award. I was super committed to strengthening our community stakeholder relationships and partner relationships. I've always felt like we do our best child welfare work when we do it together with others. And the fact that there were letters from our district attorney's office and the police department and the sheriff's department and crime victims, in addition to my child welfare colleagues, was just super meaningful to me. I suspect you guys will relate to this too. I also remember feeling like super humble, like anybody who spent any time in child welfare offices knows the amount of incredible work that's happening across the state, and that there are amazing people showing up every single day, giving of themselves personally and professionally to keep kids and families safe. And so I knew I wasn't special, that there were people in every office in this state who were equally or more deserving. So when I actually won it, it was just very humbling for me.
Good. Thank you, Marty. I know that during the few years that I've been able and fortunate enough to be a part of this award and the events that come with it, I think what you said there, Marty, was something that most every nominee says during the interview time with them, is that I don't know why it was me. All my peers are doing the same work or better work. I don't know why I'm the one that's been nominated when everybody is so deserving. Thank you. So how did being nominated or receiving the award influence your work with child welfare or your commitment to the work within child welfare?
Kind of like what I said about being nominated, I feel like this job, I can be at different times jaded because it's a really hard job, and you go home some days feeling really accomplished and some days feeling really overwhelmed. And so I feel like this influenced me. It kind of recharged my battery, and I want to keep going, if that makes sense. I think there's different things throughout your career that kind of remind you why you're in this work. And the timing could not have been more perfect in 2017. And it just kind of recharged me when I needed to be recharged. And I'm still working here today.
Great. We're glad you are, Molly.
For me, I think it really solidified that I was doing the right work and that I was doing work that could make a difference. I think what it also did for me was it got me thinking about what more I could do and how I could maybe have a greater impact. And I think that was very instrumental in my decision to go to work for the partnership as a trainer, where I could be sort of talking to caseworkers as they came into the agency, and then in my decision to eventually move into administration. So I think it was a really pivotal point for me. And I think it's the reason that I'm still here 20 years later, committed to this agency and the work that we do.
Yeah, thank you, Marnie, for all of the years that you spent in child welfare within ODHS, and then also your influence through the training. I know that it's had an impact on so many of our staff, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
My experience is very similar to Molly and Marty. It's like a combination. Like, it has definitely refueled my battery and made me just kind of eager to continue to do the work that I'm doing. And as well as it makes me just want to do more. I want to, I feel like I'm sort of a mentor in my district, and it makes me want to just mentor more, help more workers, and sort of motivate them to kind of up their work and be motivated to just keep going. And so, like Molly said, it couldn't have come at a better time for her. And I feel the exact same way. The last year, as you guys know, has been interesting, to say the least, with all of these different changes with the pandemic. And it was definitely what I needed to sort of, keep going and maybe kickstart some new ideas and stuff for myself.
Great.
Can I jump in for a second? I mean, this is really, as a award committee member, it's really great to hear all of this, partly because one of our goals is to use the award as a way to thank caseworkers, not just the individuals who receive the award, but it's really a way of thanking everyone who does this kind of work across the state every single day. And it's also, I think we've always hoped that the award would be something that would inspire those who are either fairly new caseworkers or those who've been working for a long time, inspire them to keep going and to understand their work really is recognized and appreciated.
Good. Yes, thanks for adding that, Rolf. That's so accurate, and I'm glad that you made that comment there. So over the past few years, and I can't remember, Rolf, you might be able to remember exactly when, but one of the pieces of the award for the recipient recently has been a trip to Washington, D.C. for the National Child Welfare League of America conferences. And so I'm wanting to find out kind of what that experience was like for you, or what it would have been like for you if you would have been able to go, what you kind of think it might have been for you if you're able to go, and kind of how you've been able to bring that back into your work now.
I'll go ahead and start, because I was lucky enough to go in April of 2018, I believe. So I was just so thrilled to be able to go to something that was bigger than my county, my district, my state. And I had a wonderful time. It was a very large convention, and it was wonderful and humbling being in a room with people who are all the same but all different, people who come with the same passion for this work and want to help children and keep children safe, but all have different views and perspectives from different states. And I remember New Jersey was doing so much stuff that was different and innovative, and it was wonderful hearing about how they were lowering numbers of foster care in different ways. They were providing resources to families and how they were making that more equitable. And I'm currently in my role as a nominee is a resource developer for a district. And so it was wonderful for me to just talk to as many people as I could. And everyone was strangers. So it was almost like you could talk to anybody because no one knew anyone. So it was really fun. And it was just wonderful hearing how different parts of the country work, what they're doing that you can take back. And then in my current role as a resource developer, I was able to come back with a lot of new ideas. And again, I came back like with charged. I was rejuvenated and just kind of remembering why I came into this work and excited to continue and do more.
Great, thanks, Molly. There's some great pictures of you from your trip.
Yes.
Up on the Moan Award website.
And I had a lot of fun outside of the trip too. You get to run around and see as much of DC as you can. It was just a really unique experience that I will forever remember.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that.
Back when I got the award, that wasn't a part of it yet. There was a monetary award. And I was super excited when I heard about the change and that people were getting to go to this national conference. I was really fortunate when I was a worker that the agency did invest in my professional development, and I got to go to the Child Abuse Summit and SCAR and to a conference in San Diego. And I remember how I just came back with so many new ideas of ways to do this work and strengthen this work. And so it just got me excited again about what I could try to be more effective and have more impact. And so I can only imagine that that's what that conference experience does for all of the recipients now once they get that chance to go.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting.
I haven't had a chance to go yet, and I know that this year is supposed to be virtual, so I have decided to pass until I can go in person, because I just know that the experience virtual versus in person and just meeting all those different people, sort of like Molly said, of being able to sort of interact with everyone because you know no one, is sort of what I really want to do, and so I'm just really excited for when I do get the chance to go in person.
Good. Well, hopefully that'll be within the next year. Fingers crossed. Exactly. So we're really, we want to recognize and celebrate all the casework, great casework that's happening across Oregon. And so what would you say to someone to encourage them to nominate their peers or to the community to nominate a caseworker?
Well, I can start on this one. I would just really like to encourage every branch, every district to think about the incredible work that is happening in their offices and to take this opportunity to brag a little bit and shine a spotlight on the really hard work and great work that caseworkers are doing, and to do that by nominating someone. I've learned a lot over the years. That's one of the things that happens is you learn a lot over the years. And as I said in the beginning, I am just aware of how many amazing workers are bringing their knowledge and skills to the work in child welfare. I've also learned that we have caseworkers who bring lived experience that is a whole nother kind of emotional labor that they give each day when they come to our offices, where they may be out of the foster care system, they may be part of communities that are disproportionately represented in our system. And every time they do their job and they staff a case with us or they represent this agency in court, they give just a little bit more. And so I would just like to encourage everybody to nominate somebody from their branch.
I agree
Yeah.
with Marty. I know there's great work out there, and I would just encourage people to take a moment and nominate your peers. I know for me, being nominated, just the nomination alone made me feel really valued and seen. And so I know there's wonderful work out there, and again, it's a pretty thankless job, but I think that the agency, we can do our part in highlighting and nominating and recognizing fellow workers who are doing great work, because we know there's a lot of wonderful work done out there.
I agree with the both of you guys. I would also say, so how I might encourage somebody is to have them think about a specific time where they were acknowledged and recognized for their own work, and then times that feeling by 10. And that's the feeling you get when you are nominated for the Tom Moan Award. And then letting them know that's how you can make somebody feel. So, just get some suggestions out there. I think it's really hard, especially at least in our district. I feel like nominations aren't happening very often for our district. So I don't know how much it's known. So the more that we can just be, putting it out there and letting people know what this award is going to be super helpful. And I know it's motivating to some workers to be able to think that there's a possibility I could get nominated if I just keep up the hard work that I'm doing. So.
Well said.
And I'd like people to know that the committee really wants to encourage nominations, and we don't want it to be a lot of work for the nominators. And so we encourage people to submit a nomination and to know that the committee will follow up with references and help gather additional information so that it's all before the rest of the committee when we make our decisions. But we don't want people to be shy about submitting a nomination because they're scared that they're not providing enough information up front. The committee will help fill in those gaps later.
Yeah, thank you all for adding that, because we as a committee are trying to make the nomination process as easy as possible, and we're able to do that electronically. So there'll be a link that gets sent out that you can click on. The questions are there, the boxes are there, real easy to submit. And like Rolf said, the committee is doing the follow-up on any of the reference checks, or if there's questions about anything in the nominations that the is following up with those. So I'd like to thank all of you panelists, Marty, Molly, Rolf, and Lindsay, for being here today, sharing your experience, and really encouraging the nominations. Just listening to all of you, it just makes me smile to know that there's this recognition happening, and how encouraging and positive it can make others feel, and also really sharing and shedding a light on the great work that is happening all across Oregon with our child welfare casework staff. So thank you very much for sharing that. I did want to say, for more information about the Tom Moan Award, you can go to tommoanaward.com. It should pop up, and there's history about Tom, history about the award, past recipients information is on there. There'll be information there about how to nominate somebody. So you can click there. You can also send me any questions about that. It's amy.l.hintke@dhsoha.state.or.us, a long email, and we'll make sure that you find that somewhere a little bit more easily. And in closing, again, thank you panelists, but I also want to just take a moment to thank all of the caseworkers in child welfare across the state for the hard work that you're doing every day, and celebrating the difference that you're making for our Oregon families and our communities. So thank you very much.